Okay, I'm moving up. Alright. So at the end, we're just gonna do a Q&A, and I'll just ask you questions, and you'll just respond to me like that, and I'm gonna get it from you. So whatever.
Honestly, I don't think my like slides are gonna take me that long, so I'll definitely be happy to answer some questions.
Okay, perfect. So let's. One sec. Okay. We will start very shortly. We'll start in like 1 minute, but it's live right now.
Okay, amazing.
Hi everyone, thank you for joining this virtual shadowing session. Just a reminder that this session will not be counted as shadowing hours, but you will learn lots about the DAT and dental school. Now I'd like to pass it on to Panteha Rastgar. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, thank you for having me. Hi everyone, my name is Panteha and I'm a D1 at NYU College of Dentistry. So there's like a little bit of background info about me. I graduated with a science bachelor from York University in 2019. I loved biology when I wanted to like choose a major during undergrad, so I just specialized in biology. And honestly, I took too many like different biology courses, and it was really fun, to be honest. And yeah, I'm here now. I'm studying dentistry in the most unprecedented times with COVID, which is very hard. This is exactly not completely opposite to like what I imagined it would be, but it's very different from what I imagined a dental school experience would be. But we all are going through this, so this is something that we have to adapt to. So I'm gonna just like go right into this. There are some study tips and advice that I'd like to share with you guys. I'm definitely not the best student out there, but going through whole like going through like DAT and like studying in dental school, definitely I've learned a couple of tips that I would love to share with you guys. My first tip would be attend the lecture. Honestly, it makes a huge difference for me, even if like I usually don't like take that much notes. I try to listen to the professor, and that helps me like just in getting introduced to like new material, just like hearing them going through different things. It really is helpful. Even though I would say sometimes some professors are just way better than the other ones. So but overall, I would always find like attending lectures very helpful for me, just to like get introduced to the subject. My next tip is to plan it out, and I know it sounds a little bit annoying, but believe me, like when you write down stuff and when you try to stick to it, it's very helpful. um, yeah, like planning it out and like knowing exactly what you want to do. I usually, what I do is that I don't plan ahead, like ahead of time, unless there's like an exam, and I try to like focus on like short goals, because honestly, like when you plan and like you don't stick to it, it has even like really bad like effects in terms of like being motivated for studying. So what I do is that I try to like stick to my daily plans. So I try to like either plan my day out ahead of like a day before, or like the day of, like when I wake up in the morning, I try to like plan it out, make sure like what I have to do. Obviously, like if there's like exams or quizzes or assignments coming up, definitely write them down, like be aware of them. But that's how I go about it. So I try to like plan the day of, try to like stick to it, and like try to really like break it down to like little things that I know I'll be doing, so that would kind of like make give me like a that would be kind of like a rewarding for me to like finish little tasks that I already have, so that I could like keep going and continue with my like rest of the day and like with my whole schedule. Write it out. So the next one is write it out, and by that I mean write down like little things when you're studying. Like write down the stuff that are complicated and you cannot comprehend like perfectly. I don't know what it is. There's like this weird like relationship between writing stuff down, and I'm old school. I need like paper and my pen and my pencils, colorful ones, to write down stuff that are very complicated, and the stuff that I usually have some hard time to like comprehend, and that usually helps me a lot. So that's what I mean by it. And like I know there's a lot of information that you have to go through, for example for DAT, so you cannot like write down everything. So what I do is that I also don't do that. I usually just try to like stick to the stuff that I know it's harder for me to comprehend. So I don't write down everything, just stuff that are like harder. And like I love like making little charts to like again help me better like um, have all the information at the same time, have them all together. So charts are really good. The next step that I have is to take breaks and don't forget about your hobbies. And that is also very, very important. Like I remember when I was studying for DAT, um, I knew if I just I would I took my DAT. I took American DAT, and I took it during summer. And honestly, the weather was so nice. Everyone were going out, and I felt like if I stopped myself from going out and hanging out with my friends, I would go crazy. So I definitely didn't restrict myself. I tried to like catch on with my friends as I could, as much as I could. What I did was that only during the last week, like last week of studying, which was the week before DAT, I was just staying home and not, I didn't go anywhere. But like any time before that, I was going out. I was like doing everything that I used to do. I have a little dog, so I like always like hang out with her. Or like I love to draw, so I did that. That also really helps me to like calm down. Again, like different little hobbies. I love watching movies with my sister. So again, like I didn't restrict myself, and honestly, that was kind of like motivating for me too, because I was be like, okay, so today I have to like review this parts and this parts, and I would do that, and then I would take a break. And honestly, sometimes I know you guys are stressed, and you want to like do your best on DAT, but taking breaks is very important, and you think you can do this, and I'm sure you can like continue without as many breaks as you think. But burnouts are like happens to us, and they're very common. So I would definitely say make sure that you have you plan your like some time to take for yourself and do something other than studying, because again, burnouts are happens to us very easily. And my last tip would be to think about your final goal. Like, think about like being in dental school, or like even further from there, like think about being a dentist, right? We all love the lifestyle, the daily schedule of a dentist. Honestly, I'm like fascinated by it, like the fillings and like the extractions and all the things that dentists do are, again, think about those, literally imagine it. And I know I'm like sounding a little bit cliche, but believe me, like when you dream about it and when you think about it, when you imagine it, I mean, it helped me. So that's why I think it also helps you. It could help you guys to also like get through tough days. Some days, like it's harder for you to like sit down and study. So thinking about the final goal and like why you are doing this is very motivating. Let's move on. Um, so another important thing is choosing dental schools. I am from Canada. I studied at York University. I'm from Toronto. I did not apply to any Canadian dental school only because of my GPA. And I know um, dental, like you guys are great students, and you most of you who are from like Canada know how like challenging it is to get into Canadian dental schools, but I did not, like, my GPA was not high enough for Canadian dental schools. However, I had a really good application for American schools only because of all the extracurricular activities that I did during undergrad. So for me, when I was choosing dental school, honestly, for like when I was looking at all the like American dental schools, there are so many of them, and I was very overwhelmed. I don't have any like anyone like any relatives or any friends that are like ahead of me. My parents are also not dentists, so it was very hard. Like I literally had to go through this on my own and decide like what factors are more important and like what factors are not as important. So what I did was obviously SDN is like a really good thing to look it up, like Student Doctor Network. And also what I did was I looked at ADEA Explorer, if I'm not wrong. There's like a Explorer guide for you to look it up. That gives you information about like all the very accurate information about all the dental schools. So I used that. I think I paid about like 20 or 30 American dollars, which I would definitely recommend you to do because, again, it was very, very helpful for me. It literally like helped me to break down all the things that I was looking at. It gives you so many like information about like how many international students like each school gets, like what's the average like GPA that they're looking for. Like it gives you all those information that literally helps you to like narrow down your dental school, like your favorite dental schools, and like also like applying to dental schools that you think you would have more chance of getting in. um, so there here I put down like some of the criteria or factors that I looked at. First one was clinical experience that I think NYU is very, very famous for. However, because of COVID right now, not only NYU, but a lot of like dental schools are like, it's very challenging. They're like struggling to get us in and giving like, it's hard to schedule all these students, especially for NYU because NYU has like one of the largest like dental schools, like and there our class size is about like 300, almost 400 people. So there are a lot of students, and it's very, very hard. Like even though our like facilities are like big and huge, we have so many clinics, it is still hard to get us inside. So with COVID, that's a little bit challenging, but again, like that was one of the most important thing I looked at. And again, NYU is very, very famous for all these amazing clinical experiences that provides to their students. Another thing was location for me, and it is very important. Like I'm very attached to my family, and I really again like to see them often. And being in New York City and being close to Toronto was very, very important for me. So that was another thing that was again one of the like factors that was important to me. Available opportunities, and by that I mean like all these like extracurricular stuff that are going on, all these like professors that are doing different things like research or like other clubs that are in school, or like outreaches. These are very important to me because I also like, remember I told you like about thinking about your final goal when you're like trying to motivate yourself as you're studying. So All these extracurricular activities help me to kind of like not study at that time and like focus on other things and like get motivated so that when I'm studying I'm like focused. So that was also very important for me, like being in a school that has good outreach programs, being in a school that have like great like clubs there. So I think NYU is really again good about that. Even though again it's COVID and it's hard, but still there are a lot of stuff happening, and I am really grateful for that. So that was another thing I looked into. Support system, and so next one is support system, and support system is more about again kind of like goes along with the available opportunities. So when I say like support system is like again it goes back again with the last two factors like location and opportunities, because support system can be your friends, can be your family, can be even school, like what kind of like advising system they have, what kind of like counseling they have for you, that I think like um, NYU has a great support system in terms of like providing counseling, providing all these like advising. We have lots of different advisors that like we can reach out to. Another thing that I used to think about was the fact that how is the culture of the school. That was also very important for me, and the only way that I figured that out was through um, talking to like different dental students, and that's honestly the only way you would figure it out. Like, and also like through interviews, which again these are like these might not be as useful right now because of COVID. I know a lot of like interviews are happening over the Zoom, but again, you still can reach out. Like Instagram, honestly, is a really great platform. I literally use my Instagram and I reached out to so many different like um, dental students, and I asked about like what kind of like support system do you have? What is the culture between students? Like when you get to dental school, everyone are like very competitive. People are really good. They really tried hard to get there, right? So you really want to be in a like class that students like support each other. And even though like it's COVID right now, I would say like my class is like people are great. They share notes, they literally help each other. People when they have question, they try to like help each other as much as they can. And these are important, like when you are going through something that is hard like dental school, you really want to have these stuff. You really want to think about all these stuff and have them by you. And last thing I would say about like how to choose like like what factors are important for choosing a dental school, I would say like think about personalizing them. So these are some of the stuff that are important to me and I have them here. Like these might some of them might not be as important to you. So really try to think about what is more important to you and try to like go about that. Like there's so many different schools in America that you can like you'll definitely find something that will like match your criteria and the factors that you're looking into. So try to like personalize them and then go and find like what schools have all those like criteria that you're looking for. Okay, so what is a typical day? I usually try to do yoga, and I say usually because I don't do that every day. I don't want to lie, but I do that. Like I try to like stretch when I wake up. If like some days when I have exams and stuff, I won't like go on my mat and like do like a 40-minute yoga. I would just probably do like 10-minute um, like stretch, right? But some days when I have more time, I definitely make sure that I do at least 30 minutes yoga. Usually we have lecture in the morning, so I attend the lectures. Um, And then I tried to like grab coffee depending again on the day. Some days you're more tired than the others, other days, so I would like grab my coffee and grab food, try to prepare my food, and then again more lectures. Um and I actually like for this slide I am like explaining a day that is usually a clinic day, so um that's why I wrote down lecture and then a little bit more study, and then usually so far we've had our like simulation lab or clinics later in the day, so like at around 6 p.m. So yeah, that's about a typical day at NYU so far for me. And that's about it. I hope I didn't go through these slides too quickly, but that has been a little bit about me and my experience so far. So I'll be happy to answer some questions now.
Thank you so much. So we have a couple questions, so I'll start asking them right now. Question number one: what are some ways of increasing your chance to get into dental school?
That's a really good question, and again, based on what I told you guys before, I didn't have like a very high GPA, so I strongly believe like having extracurricular and showing that like you are interested in um, so many other things is like appealing to dental schools. And I know like sometimes like that's a little bit weird to hear, but just I feel like when you are thinking about dental school, people just like focus on everything dentistry related, and they forget that they have to show like they're interested in other things, right? um, and that might not like appeal as much to dental schools. So, for example, during undergrad, I volunteered with Let's Talk Science. I don't know if you guys heard about it or not, but I love them. They're a nonprofit organization in Canada, and I love their like mission. They literally send out like students to schools. They do like hands-on science activities, so I was very involved with that, which is again something that has to do nothing with dentistry, right? Or like I talked about like research opportunities that I've done during undergrad, which again had nothing to do with dentistry, but I feel like having all these like different things um, on my application. I think I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think having all these like different things on my application made my application better and more appealing to dental schools. I hope I answer your question. If you want to like ask me follow-up question about the same thing, please go ahead, but that's about it.
Perfect. And then another question is: do you recommend applying to dental schools outside of Canada? Why did you decide to apply to NYU? What stood out?
Yeah, so I definitely do. So let me tell you, my GPA during undergrad for the whole 4 years was 3.6, around 3.6, which is not a high GPA at all. And like Canadian schools literally want you to have a GPA of 4, and that's again like mine was far away from that. So that was my main reason. Honestly, if you can, I would say apply to Canadian schools because they are way cheaper and you would definitely save a lot. But I really like the quality, and this is something that I really like thought about it a lot. Like dental schools, there are so many dental schools in U.S. that there's like competition between schools, and there are not as many schools in Canada, and there are already a lot of like students applying to Canadian schools, so they really don't have really that much competition between them. But in US, because there are like so many schools and they want to like fill their class size, um, there's like competition between them, and that's why I feel like the quality is a little bit better. I'm like making a huge statement here. I don't want people coming and getting angry at me. No, dental schools in Canada are great too. But I feel like because of that, there are a lot of like um, advancement in like clinics and stuff when you look at like American schools compared to Canadian schools. But why did I choose NYU? Again, like the clinical experience, like we see, I mean, I'm about to see a lot of like patients, like our clinics are always full. And that was something that I noticed, like even when I came here for my interview, like I went to a couple other schools too, and like it was packed when I came here. Like all the clinics were packed with patients, and that is very important. Like, our like being a dentist is very important for. It's important in terms of like doing a lot of hands-on, and you really want to get that like manual dexterity like developed while you're in school. Like at least start from when you're in school, because I've heard from a lot of dentists that never ends there. You just continue learning. So like that was very important for me to like go to a school that is at least giving me enough opportunity to work on patients and like get all my like um, clinic uh, requirements done. So that was very, very important to me. And again, another thing, being close to Toronto, that was very important to me as well. Yeah, and like I love New York. It's like amazing. So another thing that I don't want to be cliche, but living in New York is also a great opportunity that I'm very grateful to have right now.
Perfect, thank you. Another question is, how do you study for the DAT? What is the passing grade when you're in dental school just to pass your courses? Is it still 50%?
No, it's not 50%. I wish it was 50%. No, it's actually 70. Well, yeah, I think it's a C plus, which would be 69.5. So that's a passing grade, but so I'm sorry. So the question is, how do I study for DAT, and also they asked about how I study in dental school, both of them.
Yes.
So for DAT, I literally spent 2 months studying for it. I used so how I started was that I literally started with my weakest point, like weakest point, and that was my chemistry. So I started with chemistry, and that was like something I focused on the most. And I used DAT bootcamp. I completely recommend that. That was amazing. I love like how the whole website is designed. I love their like questions. That definitely helped me a lot. Their like study lessons are really helpful. So I for like studying organic chemistry, I completely used all Mike's video. They're amazing. um, I also used destroyer to do some questions. So I had the destroyer, um, what was it called, like the one that has like all of them, like the biology and chemistry in one pile. So I had that, um, and I didn't get like I took my DAT in 2018, and I didn't get like the newest edition. I got like the previous editions. Like I got secondhand DAT destroyer, and I still would like again recommend that. That would be a little bit cheaper if you want to like save a little bit of money there. So I really like them. And the way that I again started, I mostly focused on the chemistry part, like general chemistry, and then I also did like organic chemistry. Another thing that helped me, I feel like, was taking orgo during like when I finished my uh, 2 organic chemistries back in undergrad. I like the summer after I took my DAT, so it wasn't like long from then. Honestly, I feel like I forgot everything about orgo right now, but yeah, so I did them like very close together. So organic chemistry can be challenging too. So yeah, that's how I did it. I didn't spend that much time on biology only because I was more like confident in it. I just did questions on DAT bootcamp and a little bit from the destroyer, but most of my time I was studying for chemistry, general chemistry and organic chemistry. And for quantitative reasoning, honestly, I don't find that section that hard. Um, so again, I just did destroyer. And for PAT, I remember that in 2018 they just like the AT bootcamp just came up with their app, so I was using the app and I was also using their website. So that's how I like also practice for PAT. And yeah, that's about it. Another thing that I really want to just quickly mention, again, I told you guys like the last week of my studying for DAT, like the week before DAT, I literally sat down every morning at 9. I was behind my computer. I was like taking the whole exam, like because DAT bootcamp has that option that you can like take the whole exam. So I was doing it exactly that way, and I did that for like 5 days, and I think that is very important. Like I feel like that helped me a lot. So that's why I really recommend you guys doing that. I feel like it literally like prepares your brain to be like ready at that time. And yeah, so when it comes to that, like taking the AT at that day, like it helps you to like not get nervous as much and helps your brain to like be ready and like um be on the go mode.
Thank you. Another question is any advice for individuals with low GPA but people that want to go to dental school really really bad?
Yeah, so again, I'm an example of that. So I literally would say don't give up. Don't again, these might sound cliche, but believe me, you should not give up. You should just focus again on think about your final goal of becoming a dentist, right? So do more dental shadowing, go to like different dentists, talk to them and like see how they're doing. Try to like um improve your application in other aspects. And like I did let's talk science, for example. I worked at like science department at York. Like these were the stuff that I like. I love sciences, I love biology, so I was focusing on that, and it literally made me so happy by doing it, right? And I also like kind of improve my application. So think about something that you like and go and do that and try to like improve your application in by doing more extracurricular. So that's what I would say. And again, don't give up. It might take a little bit more time, but I'm pretty sure you can do this.
Thank you. Another question is are there any cons to taking the DAT after you graduate?
Um, I don't know about that. I won't say, I don't think there are any cons. I took did DAT when I was like in the summer from my third to fourth year. So I didn't do it after graduation, but I wouldn't say that it's gonna be a problem. I don't think it is. I know a lot of people who've done that and they did great. It really depends on your how you schedule and how you go about like studying it. But like when I was studying for DAT, I was not taking any courses, so maybe they were thinking about taking courses and also like studying for DAT. So I didn't do that. I was just studying for DAT. I was not taking any courses. I was just focusing on that, and I think it's doable.
Yeah. Another question is what is the toughest thing about your first year? And do you work on clinics the first year on patients or how does that work?
So at NYU, as D1, we were all like, again, before COVID, D1s were always assisting upper years when they had like patients, like they were like literally assisting and shadowing other upper years. But right now, we don't do that. So with COVID, honestly, again, like this is not what I imagined dental school would be, but I feel like we're not getting enough like hours, to be honest. I mean, I don't know, other people might not say that, but I don't think we are getting enough clinic hours. We only go in once a week for 3 hours, and there are like other days, like usually on Fridays, every like 2 weeks, we have like Friday sessions too that we go in and practice more for another 3 hours. And honestly, I don't think that's enough because like before COVID, we were able literally to come in anytime we want. Like I also like asked that question during interview from like um, other like NYU student. They literally told me that you guys can come in anytime you want on your own time and practice. Because sometimes like when you are like especially like getting the hang of like how to sit down, your ergonomics, and how to like have the drill, get the feel of it, you really need a lot more practice. And like again, NYU was providing that before, but right now they are not. And I don't think NYU is the only school. I'm pretty sure like other schools also have like restricted time. So I have no idea what's gonna happen about that. But I think it's a very important thing, and I really hope that they fix this. I mean, vaccine is coming, and they're actually like they started like vaccinating upper year students and faculty. I think right now are like they're finishing up with our D3s, and it's gonna like get to us. I don't know if we all get vaccinated, anything's gonna change, but I'm like hoping that it will. But yeah, so this is a tough question to answer. Like again, it's important, very important, and I think you should really take that into consideration when you are looking at different schools. But right now, like NYU is struggling in that way.
Thank you. Another question is, can you take the Canadian DAT if applying to schools in the States?
Yes, I know NYU accepts Canadian DAT, and they actually take a lot of Canadian students. And I'm not sure about the other schools, but I know there are schools that accept Canadian DAT. Not all of them though. So definitely double check with the school that you're interested in. Just like send them an email or call them. They're very nice. I've had like experiences like calling them or like sending an email. They're usually like admission. They're very nice and they will answer you. And if you just check their website, it usually is there if they're like accepting Canadian like student. They usually would mention if they accept or they do not accept Canadian DAT, but I know NYU does.
Perfect. Another question is, which dental schools did you apply to and how many did you apply to? And was NYU your top choice?
Okay, so I applied to 9 schools and I got interviewed in 5 schools and I only got accepted in 2 of them. So NYU was one of them, and the other one that I got accepted was Roseman. I don't know if you guys know about it, but Roseman has such a unique program that I was very interested in, and I still think it's a really great program, but I ended up choosing NYU because of 2 things. Location, the fact that NYU is very close to Toronto, like New York is very close to Toronto, and also their like clinic hours and all the patient that they get. Because like Roseman is in Utah. I don't know if you guys know about that or not, but is in Utah, which is on West Coast, further away. And another thing that I noticed when I got there was the fact that Roseman Dental School was in a very nice area of the city. So usually people who come into dental school to get their um, like oral health checked are it's a little bit more challenging for them to go to dentists. So it's really good to like keep that in mind. Like if your school is already in a really nice area, it would be harder for people to get there, and that means there are going to be less people coming in for each student to work on. So that was a very important thing which I did not like notice until I got there. And another thing which was very funny for me was that Roseman, literally that area was saturated with dental offices around it, which I was like, why would anyone come to dental school? There are already a lot of dentists around here. Like, so that was like one of those things that I regretted that I applied there. But again, their program is really interesting. They have only pass and fail. Like all of their courses are pass and fail, and you have to get 90% on each exam to pass, which sounds very challenging. But they make it sound like so easy. But you can remediate, I think twice there, and it's not gonna like affect your GPA as much. They have a very unique program. I literally can talk about it for hours, but look it up. It's interesting. I think they are one of the only schools that offer a program that's completely pass and fail. So the other schools that I applied to, let me just quickly mention them. I applied to Detroit. I went there. I didn't like the school as much. Um, and the reason I didn't like it was the fact that I felt like the student culture, like, I don't know why, maybe it was just my chance. Like, when I got there, like, the student ambassadors who were, like, representing the school, they seemed so tired. Like, even, like, in NYU, I felt that, but, like, people were more motivated about, like, what they're studying. But, like, at Detroit, I did not felt that. And also, like, clinics in NYU are way better than Detroit, but I hope I don't get that much hate for that. But Detroit is still a very good school. Uh, it's just it wasn't for me. I applied to no wait. Let me just look it up. I applied to the one school in Fort Lauderdale in Florida. I forgot the name of it. I applied to USC, which I really love. The school is amazing. I got interviewed there, and I think I screwed up my interview, but it was such a beautiful school. Even though it was further away, it's like in LA, way far from here. But I would have like I remember in your question you asked like was NYU my top choice. It wasn't my like the first choice. My first choice was Boston, which I didn't even get interview at. But USC was also like I would say second for me because their school is amazing. Everything about it, like they have great clinic, great professors, great weather. But yeah, so I really liked USC. What other school did I apply to? Um, I Let me quickly look it up. I applied to UOP, that is in San Francisco. I applied to, I told you guys about Boston, Detroit. Nova Southeastern is the one that I couldn't forget. I couldn't remember the name. So Nova Southeastern was also very nice. I didn't like Florida as much. Again, that wasn't a really good choice for me because when I should have like not applied there. I've never been to Florida before, and when I got there, I was like, it's a very nice city, but I was like, I can't imagine like studying here. I just want to like go to the beach and enjoy my time. Like it's so hard. Like the weather was so perfect. I was like, how am I gonna study here? But yeah, NYU, Roseman, USC, and also UPenn. So these are the schools that I applied to, and I got interviewed at NYU, Roseman, and USC, Nova Southeastern, and Detroit.
Perfect, thank you. Another question is, what extracurriculars did you partake in your undergrad?
Um, I told you guys about Let's Talk Science, so I was very, very involved with that. I started as a volunteer, and I became an executive member there. I was planning all these events that Let's Talk Science have, like Let's Talk Science Challenge, Symposium, science rendezvous. They have so many different programs. So I was very involved with that, and I would say like I was there. I joined in my first semester of second year, and I was involved after graduation. um, and what else did I do? I again like I didn't do too many different ones. I was just again really focused on that. um, I personally was also interested in research when I started my undergrad. Um, and because of that, I did two different research practicum. I also did a thesis in my last year. So I don't know if like those helped my application, but they were the stuff that I did. I shadowed a general dentist, and another thing I would say that might help your application is to go and not just your application, also like your interest in different specialty. Try to like shadow like different specialties and like just to explore it and see like you might be interested in something other than general dentistry. So I also did that for like almost 2 years, which again was really interesting. I really enjoyed that. That's about it. I didn't do anything other than these. I like, yeah, these were the stuff that I mostly focused on. But yeah, I think it was mostly the hours that I spent there. It wasn't like having like a huge variety of extracurricular.
Perfect. Another question is, when can you start seeing patients at NYU, like regularly, if you're at school?
Yeah, so we see patients in third year, but we do like, for example, like one program that got canceled for us was the pediatrics. Like usually start like doing like sealants and stuff like that from like end of D1 and then starting D2. There are like different outreaches that again like for our pediatrics just got canceled. So that was that. But technically like seeing patient officially starts at D2. NYU is a very old like school, and they like go about like the same way that they've been doing for some time, and they're right now they're trying to like update their schedule for the new boards. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. American boards has been updated, and right now like they're trying out new schedules, and like back before like there used to be two parts to the American board, um, which one you would take at the end of D2 and another one in your D4. And I think that's why they were doing like patients and starting seeing patient in D2. But again, like right now it's going to be on our like boards are going to be in D3, and it's going to be only one exam. But they haven't changed it, and honestly, I'm not sure what's gonna happen with us because of COVID. But they usually go they usually have their schedule for students to see patients starting D3.
Thank you. Another question is, are there any specialties you're considering right now?
I am not. I love general dentistry so much, but I'm very open to it. Like, I really want to like, cause we're gonna have different rotations in clinics, right? So like usually like all schools do that. When you start like seeing patients, you're gonna do like different rotations. You're gonna do peds. You're gonna do like ortho, like all these like endo, all of them. You're gonna do all of them, and I feel like then maybe I can like get more involved and see if I like any specialty more. But I don't think I'm gonna do specialty, to be honest. I'm like very settled on general dentistry, and I was like that before I start. Like it wasn't something that I was thinking about. I mean, there are lots of like I've seen like dentists who are like they're only DDS and they focus on doing one thing more than the other. For example, some people just do a lot more filling, some people do a lot more like tooth extraction, some people do more endo. And that's really depends on you and like how you want to go about it. And they usually try to like stay updated with like C courses that are like continuing education courses after dental school. So I think I'm also gonna do something like that. But yeah, right now I'm not thinking about specialty, and I don't think I'm gonna like change my mind, but we'll see. I'm not too sure.
Thank you. Another question is, what's the workload in dental school when compared to undergrad?
It's a lot more. I don't want to scare you guys, but it's a lot more. Like, I'm surprised by the amount of information I have to go through. It's definitely more hectic, but I would say because of not having as much clinic hours, I would say like this year for everyone in dental school, I would say it was a little bit easier because like before we had to have this amount of information, this amount of like didactics plus clinic. And I feel like that's helping for sure. Maybe that's a good thing about COVID. I don't know. But the amount of information is definitely a lot, way more than undergrad. Like I remember in undergrad, like we used to take a course for like um about 2.5 3 months, right? And you would focus on that. But right now, like you our courses are like shorter and the same amount of information are being taught and are expected from us. So definitely a lot more.
Perfect. Another question is, how many shadowing hours do you recommend getting?
As much as you can. There's not enough. I always say as much as you can, and I really tried to like go in as much as I could. um Unfortunately, I don't know, this is my experience. I feel like um Canada is a little bit more like strict in terms of like having you doing like being a dental assistant or like doing something more than just shadowing. Again, it really depends on the clinic you go to, but like at the clinic that I was like the dentist was amazing. She was so inspiring. But and I also like helped them to like do like autoclaving and stuff like that, but that was it. I didn't like assist her when she was doing work because I know like regulation again back in Ontario, like you have to have um I think it's a year degree that you have to take to be a dental assistant, or like 2 years for dental hygienist. So I know it's a little bit harder because like I see a lot of students here like in my class that they were like literally assisting the dentist and like doing all these stuff, but I didn't have that chance. So if you have that, definitely like take advantage of it. And I don't think there is like a enough like hours for you to shadow. You should have to do as much as you can. Again, it's better for you. And maybe you can like start learning about I tried to I remember the numbering system of the teeth definitely helped me just speed up my like time of spending time on dental anatomy. So like do a little stuff like that. And yeah, just shadow as much as you can.
Perfect. A couple last questions, but this one says, how do you plan on repaying the student loans?
Oh, that's a good question. um, I am planning on working as much as I can. And I am blessed with a family who supports me, so that I'm just fortunate. I'm lucky because of that. So for paying the debt, I would just say, yeah, I'm planning to work as much as I can. There is no other way that I'm planning to pay them. And I don't have a really good plan right now, but we'll see how I end up.
Yes. Another question is, I noticed that NYU requires letters of recommendation. What are these exactly?
Yeah, so I think all schools do want you to have letter of recommendation, and that literally depends on like I remember they wanted four, and you couldn't like give them more. So if it is still like that, I would recommend you definitely get like all four. Don't go less than that. and I got my letters of recommendation from my professors that I did research with, and from like the workplace that I was at, from like also the dentist that I shadowed. So definitely, like, letters of recommendations are just like a proof that you actually did all those stuff, and a proof that um you know, showing like, hey, we know this person, she or he is like doing a great job in whatever they're doing, you know. So letters of recommendation, I think, are also very, very important. Again, I was lucky enough to know enough professors to help me out. So yeah, that's how I did it, and I'm pretty sure like most schools in US do want that. I'm not sure about, again, Canadian school. I would assume they want it too, but definitely have them prepared for American schools.
Perfect. Last three questions. The first one is tips for approaching a dentist to shadow during COVID. So how would you approach them?
With COVID, it's very, very hard. Honestly, again, I don't know how you guys are doing it. And when Azal told me about like this, what you're doing right now on your page and all these shadowing hours, I was really impressed because you guys are definitely making it a lot easier. So thank you for doing that. It's hard to like go in and with all these like restrictions to like go and like shadow a dentist. Honestly, the way that I did it was I just like contacted all the dentists close to where I live. And the reason I did it is because, again, I mentioned before, my parents are not dentists. I do not come from a dentist background, so I had to like make my connections there. And I also, another thing I would say is that I was not raised in Canada. So from my accent, you probably could tell I was born and raised in Iran, and then I moved to Canada about like 7 years ago. So I didn't know as many dentists there. So if you already have your like um, dental provider back in your hometown, definitely reach out to them. I'm sure they will be more than happy to have you there. They usually are very nice in terms of like accepting students. And with COVID, I would say maybe like ask to like go in and talk to them, and be like I don't know, honestly, like suggest that you'll wear like all the proper PPE, and like you would just want to be there and see how everything's are. And maybe like you will get less shadowing hours, which again, I feel like dental schools would also understand that because of COVID you have less shadowing hours. Like it's not going to be something that, or you're like, oh my god, like everyone's getting so many hours, I'm like staying behind. It's like everyone's going through this, right? So I would assume like dental schools are also like more understanding about that. But just reach out to them. That's how I did it. I just reached out and I explained my situation, and I expressed my interest, and I got lucky.
Perfect. Another question is, do you have any advice for dental school interviews? What should we expect? How should we prepare for them?
Yeah, interviews, definitely. I um, literally asked everyone, like my all my close friends, my parents, my sister, all of them. I was like, literally was like, okay, can you ask this question from me? Or so what I did. Okay, let me back up. Sorry, I tried to like make a list of common questions. Just Googled a bunch of questions came up. I tried to go through them. Honestly, for preparing for interview, I also would say like you should do a little bit of like soul searching in that way. Like you should literally think about some of the like common questions that are probably gonna like come up, like why our school, why like dentistry. Like these are really common questions that you should have an answer for, like a really good answer. So try to like think about possible questions, and try to like think about a proper answer for them. And then ask everyone around you, whoever you're more comfortable with, to ask you all those questions, and try to like um, ask them for their feedback. And their feedback doesn't have to necessarily be very instructive, as long as someone is looking at you and like looking at how your like body language is, how relaxed you are, what are you talking about. I still feel like that's very helpful. Another thing I also did was I recorded myself, which again helped me a lot. English is my second language. I had to like pause a lot when I was like thinking about an answer. So it definitely helped me a lot to like think about a possible answer ahead of time and kind of like be prepared in that way. So I literally bugged everyone around me to ask me questions, and I also recorded myself. These are the two things I would like strongly recommend you to do, and also think about possible questions.
Perfect. And the last question is, does OSAP cover Canadians in the States?
I don't know what OSAP is.
Uh,
OSAP?
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. First thing I was like, what is that? Sorry. Yeah. So OSAP. Yeah, I actually got OSAP, but it's not a lot. And they only give you around like 15, 16,000, and I think that's the max you can get each year. So I'm like using that for like budgeting little things. It's still better than nothing, but it's not a lot. So yeah, you can apply to OSAP, and they will definitely like support you. But since it's out of Ontario, they have a limited budget for that, and it's honestly not a lot compared to the expenses that you have to have here. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much for becoming our
Course.
guest today. Everyone enjoyed it. We love have learning about you. Just a reminder to everyone that today's session does not count as shadowing hours, but I hope you guys learned a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. I hope that I helped a little bit. And you guys can reach out to me. I usually try to like answer any questions that I could on my Instagram. So if you got to know me through that, so don't hesitate, be comfortable, and ask me any questions you have. I'll be happy to help.
Thank you so much.
Of course.